If you watched any gaming YouTuber in 2017, you remember Bendy and the Ink Machine. It was likely the most hyped horror game of all time, but since then, it's become very irrelevant as almost no one even remembers the game. So in today's video, I'm going to explain to you guys what happened to Bendy and the Ink Machine and where it is today. Let's get straight into it. So Bendy and the Ink Machine was divided into 5 parts. There was Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and Chapter 5, with Chapters 1 and Chapter 2 and part of Chapter 3 being mostly a tutorial on the game, but also pushing the story forward, whereas towards the middle to the end of Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and Chapter 5 were mostly story-driven. Now, Bendy and the Ink Machine was extremely hyped because everyone loved Chapter 1, but then each chapter after that took progressively longer. So Chapter 1 came out February 10th, 2017, but then Chapter 2 came out April 18th, almost actually more than 2 months after the original game came out. Chapter 3 came out actually 5 months after, on September 29th, 2017. Chapter 4 came out April 30th, 2018, 7 months after the 3rd chapter, with the finale Chapter 5 coming out 6 months later on October 26, 2018. This release schedule made the game extremely hyped as everyone was excited and theorizing on what chapter could be next and what would be in the next chapter. But as we'll come to find out, this release schedule, though amazing for the time, was terrible for the future of this franchise. Now, the beginning of the decline was actually when it was at its peak, as they released Chapter 5, which came with huge success as everyone was playing it and everything. But then, after Chapter 5, there was nothing left, as the problem with Bendy's release schedule was that the way that they hyped up the game was incredible for short-term gain, but absolutely detrimental for long-term gain for the franchise. Although it did still last probably another year or maybe less or more after the game released as Chapter 5, it was hard for the game to continue the momentum considering that the main game that everyone was loving, was done and there was going to be no chapters extra on top of that. And to continue the momentum from this game, they had to pick one of 2 options. They either had to go the route of adding an extra chapter or somehow continuing the story, or they had to leave the game be and continue with spin-offs. And they picked the latter, as now if you go on their store page, there are 4 or 3 different spin-offs of Bendy and the Ink Machine. These games are probably not terrible. I haven't played them or seen anything about them, but creating a spin-off is the exact reason why a lot of these games fail unless done perfectly. So this is where the full decline comes in. Now, because of how they did the spin-offs and couldn't really generate a whole lot of hype around it, if you look now, recent reviews are like 10 or 20 on the spin-offs, even though the actual full game still has a decent amount of reviews coming in, the spin-offs don't, and obviously the main game still doesn't have a lot of hype around it now because, well, it's over. So the game overall might have a core fan base, but no one is talking about it now, and it will suffer the same fate as Baldi's Basics, where the game, yeah, it will have a core fan base, and it might not be failing, but it's definitely not going to be making it mainstream, and is definitely seeing far less money and success now than it was in 2017 and like 2018. At the end of the day, Bendy has suffered the same fate as many mascot horror games from the mid-2010s. It will always live on in the memories of the people who played it and watched people play it, but it will never actually reach the modern-day audience that would have been watching it back in 2017. Quick side note as I'm editing this video, if you go on the Bendy storefront, not only is the cage actually not released yet and is releasing this year, but also the 3rd installment of the full version, what am I saying, of the full game. So the 3rd in like Bendy, Dark Revival, and then this is coming out this year as well. Oh, I mean, maybe not this year, but sometime soon. Yeah, I just thought I'd point that out since most of this doesn't really say that. Just thought I'd put that in here. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment, like, subscribe.